Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cherie Reeves-Spare. I'm with WSMA, and this is our 2023 Fall Grant Opportunity Grant Portal Walkthrough. My name is Cherie Reeves-Spare. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a middle-aged white woman. I wear glasses. I have brown curly hair. I'm wearing a black turtleneck today, and my Zoom screen is blurred for today. Today's session is specifically for the technical side of uploading your grant for our grant application that is due December 1st, 2023. Get that on your calendar. Friday, December 1st at 5 p.m. I'll be closing the grant portal at 5:01. So I hope you get everything uploaded beforehand. Today, we're going to walk through the grant portal. I'm going to do a sample of what that looks like. I'm going to show you some pearls of wisdom. I'm going to remind you several times to share or save and save often. At the end, we'll address questions and get to everything you want to know. Again, though, I want to emphasize this is the technical side of it of the grant walkthrough. If you're looking for the information session and the application walkthrough with Dr. Jillian Marshall, we've got that linked on our WSMA website on the grant opportunities page, where we'll also put the video replay of today's session, as well as our FAQs. So thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate you being here. So let's get started, shall we? Let's do this. So here's what I want you to have ready before we even get into the grant portal. Here's what I want you to have ready before you upload your application. As we noted in the guidelines, get all your questions answered before you come to the portal. The portal is fine. You can do editing in here, but it doesn't have a spell check. And it doesn't really allow you, maybe if you're working collaboratively with someone else in a shared document, it is really great to be able to do that elsewhere and then just copy and paste into the portal. And so we'd really like you to do that. It's just a strong recommendation. You don't have to do it, but copy and paste will be your friend. Again, save often. The second thing is I want you to have a completed funding request form ready to go. We're not going to go into the content of what's in that, but have that ready to go. We'll take it in a Word document or a PDF document, and I'm going to show you where we're going to upload that. The next thing is have your economic impact outcomes ready to insert into the portal. Again, this is another one that you might want to work on separately and then copy and paste into the document, into the portal. And I'm going to walk through that with you as well, and I'll show you where all those belong. You're going to need to have an organization budget. This is not the project budget that you're asking for funds from WSMA. This is your organization budget for the most recent year. You may have a fiscal year that runs July to June. You may have one that runs January through December or others, but we need an organizational big picture look at your organization for the last funded year. We're also going to upload an organization P&L or profit and loss. It's also called an income statement or a statement of activities. You know, a budget is a big idea projection of what you're going to do in this coming year. This income statement is going to tell us the details. What was your revenue? What were your expenses for the last year? This gives us an actual on-the-ground look at the organization. For those of you, and there are a couple of you I see who have submitted applications previously, this is new. This is a new one you're going to be uploading, so be ready for that. The other thing you're going to need is the documentation of your 501c3 or 501c6 documentation. Really critical. And it's going to play into how we access the portal as well. So have that ready to go. If you were using a fiscal sponsor, you're going to upload two things. You're going to upload a 501c3 document from that fiscal agent that is supporting you if you don't have your 501c3, but you also will have to upload a document that outlines the relationship between the two organizations, is signed by everyone so we know what the expectations are and who has fiduciary responsibility. So you got 6 things I'm going to have you upload. At the end of this session, I'll put it into the chat box, and I'll also put a screen card with all of these items in the video. All right, here we go. We're going to go get into the system. So let me get to where I need to be. All right. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? You can see this screen. This is our WSMA grant portal. I assume we can see this. And if you cannot, please put a note in the chat. Great, thank you, Bill. All right, so this is what our grant portal looks like. If you haven't been here before, you can locate this on our website. When you go to the grant page, it's up in the upper right corner. There's also a link at the bottom of the guidelines. It's linked a couple of times in the grant guidelines as well, so you can get to this page. So this is our login page. We're going to start off with, if you're a brand new organization, you've never sought funding from us, you're not in our system. Again, you've got to be a 501c3, 501c6 nonprofit registered in the state of Washington with the Secretary of State. And in the video links down below, I'm going to link where you can check those items out for you and or your fiscal sponsor. So here we are in the portal. Let's get started. Big thing I need you to get your EIN for your organization or your fiscal sponsor. It is the easiest way to search. This portal uses a vendor called Smart Simple, and they base everything on the IRS. This is not our documentation. This is from them. So this is how we determine your eligibility. So right down here on this left-hand side where it says new to the system. Oh, let's check out to see if we need to be registered. So we're going to look at an organization search. We need to find you in the IRS, or you need to find yourself in the IRS before you can submit your application or that of your fiscal sponsor. The best thing you can do is use the EIN. Pop in that EIN from your organization. That will pull up your organization. Now, suppose you don't know it and you want to search to see if you're there. Get ready for some pearls of wisdom. So right down here where it says name, I could look up our organization by name. So I'm going to put up WSMA and I'm going to search. The Wisconsin School of Music. Nope, that's not us. So I have to go back and we have to finesse the system a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the refining of the search and I'm going to say WSMA. I'm going to go down to the state and I'm going to put the state of Washington. Now let's search on that. No records are found. All right, got to do a little more digging. So I'm going to refine this. Ideally, I would have used the EIN, but if I don't have it, I'm going to go to I'm going to put in the Washington State Microenterprise Association in the state of Washington, and I'm going to search for that. Woo, there we are. We come up, here's my EIN. This is the organization name. This means we are eligible. You can check to see if you're in the IRS database, clicking here. I'll also put some of the links down below. So the eligible applicants are here. This is the organization name, the EIN. What's really great is that it's already pre-populated with all the information we need. I do need you to insert your UBI number. We'd love it if you'd put in your legislative districts and who are your contact information down below. This is for folks who have not applied before. That's really important. If you are not in our system, you're going to start fresh. By the way, don't forget to do the CAPTCHA. It will not capture anything until we do that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start as though we are new to the system, where we've been in the system before. And this is what it'll look like for you once you register and once we get you into the WSMA portal specifically. I use a fake account. It's called Zydeco. If you're from New Orleans, you'll know what that is. But what I'm going to do is get into the system using the account that I know. If you are an existing or former grantee from WSMA, there's staffing transitions that happen. There are changes. If you don't know who is the contact email that you use for your applications, please reach out to me ASAP. I'm really quick on the responding on this. Let me know and I will find out who is the person that is the contact, so you can either get in under their name or we can assign a new contact. But if you know who that is, great. If you were the person last year, great, you're already in our system. But if you don't know who that is, drop me a line. We'll get that figured out real quick. So in this case, I'm going to use my Zydeco account and get ready to log in. If you have not, and here is another pearl of wisdom, if you have not been in our system in a while, I think over 3 months, you will get a verification notice. You'll have to go into that account that you're trying to log on, and it'll give you a code. This is not going to show up for me right now because I was in the system a little while ago. On the video, I'm going to put in a picture of what that will look like, but you will need to do a verification code. For those of you who are longtime grantees, this was new last year, as you recall. It's kind of a couple of steps you have to get through, but it does ensure the confidentiality of your grant and organization information. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And here we are. This is what's called the dashboard. It's going to have a welcome. It's going to have us a home page, so we can always get back to this. Across the top are our funding opportunities. Stay tuned. We're going to go there. Your profile. This is your, as the contact who's logged in, your contact information. It includes who I am, my email, my phone number, etc. I'm going to go back to the home page. It has the organization profile. Very important. Take a look at the organization profile, please. Make sure you've got a UBI number in there. That is a requirement of funding. If that's not included in your application, I will reach out to you, and I won't put it through to review until we can get your UBI number. You have to have a UBI number in Washington State to be eligible for this funding. I'd love it if you put your organizational logo right here. Upload that. I'd really appreciate it. Legislative districts, you can find that at the Washington State Legislature. If you can pop those in, we'd really appreciate it. Not required, but we'd appreciate it if you did it. It does help us with funding down the road, just saying. You can change your password here, etc. Then we have a section about applications. These are the ones you have in progress. We will come back to this. The ones you have currently submitted, the ones that have been approved or declined. In the it requires attention section, this is after you submit your application. This is pending contract. If you have reports that I'm waiting for, if you have reports that you've completed. So this is our dashboard, and we always try to come back here. And there's a piece I forgot to tell you just a moment ago. If you can't find yourself at the IRS, or you can't find your organization, don't open a new organization. Reach out to me first. Let's see if we can find you first. What happens is you will have people who create duplicate accounts for the same organization. And that can be a little challenging because we want all of your documentation related to grants in one central spot and one record. So if you really can't find it, you've done all those tricks that I showed you earlier, you've looked at your EIN, you can't find yourself or your fiscal agent, drop me a line, we'll figure it out. But don't start a new organization, please. Give me a call, we'll figure it out. So let's see, we talked about that. Okay, now we'll get into the other stuff. Today's opportunity is right here under the funding opportunities. You're going to open that up, and it's going to let you know what opportunities we have at this given moment. And as we've talked about, it's the fall 2023 grant opportunity strengthening, microenterprise development. Yes, we found what we need. So to start a new application, we're going to apply now. And we're going to walk through all of these steps. Before going back to that, I want to give you a really important pearl of wisdom. Please be mindful of this. Once you start an application, you can save it. You can come back to it later. There's a save button. I'm going to show you that later. Once you hit submit, it comes to us. And you're going to see, I'm going to show you an example. You can't submit it unless everything that we need that's required is in the portal. Then you'll be able to submit. But even so, we've had a couple of cases where folks had submitted before they meant to. Drop me a line, I'll reopen it up. However, you have a timeline of about an hour to do that. You can't submit and then call 3 days later and say, I forgot to do something. We use a window of about an hour. If you have that, oh my goodness, I hit that by mistake. Cherie, what do I do? Drop me a line, give me a call, we'll reopen it, won't be a problem. But once you save your document, you no longer need to open a new funding source and funding apps. You go to your applications that are in progress. If you go back into the funding opportunities and start a new application, you'll duplicate, triplicate, and last year we had 4 of the same application. I don't want you to have to do that. It's too much work on your end. And I can delete and remove applications that you don't want, but let's not do that. So this is the application that I have that I'm working on. I worked on it earlier today. I can open it up and I can go to each of the tabs and I can update everything I need. Now, let's say all I did was add my new name, Cherie's Awesome Project. Yes, that's the name of my project. I am going to try to submit this application. You will see you will not be able to submit it. It will fail because there are too many things that are required that I didn't fill out. So it's not going to let you submit it by accident without a lot of the data in here. So always go back to the in progress application you're working on. Again, don't start a new application each time. Go to the one you're working on. So I'm going to go to the home page and we're going to start a brand new application because that's where everybody's going to be from the group that I see here today. I think most of you have not started an application yet. We're going to go to our funding opportunities. I'm logged in as my Zydeco account. I am ready to go. I've got all of those 6 items ready to go, ready to upload. I'm going to apply for this. Let's go through it. So the project information, it mirrors what we have in the grant the grant guidelines, all the same questions. What I want to point out to you is you'll see the red stars. Those are the items that are required. It will not let you submit this unless you have something in there. So there's radio boxes. There's a project name. Again, Cherie's Awesome Project. Cherie, who can't spell Awesome Project. Here's another question right here. You're going to put in all your information, blah, 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 blah. Again, copy and paste it from another document. You'll notice down here, I believe this was asked during the information session, we do have character limits, and the character limit is listed at the bottom here. Tell you how many are left. Over here is a little, see this little down button here? You can expand this. I like to look, when I write, I like to look at something that's the whole thing. I don't like to kind of scroll through it, but you do what works best for you. You can expand this. This will tell us how many characters are left. Again, all the same questions you're going to see on the grant guidelines, copy and paste. That will be your friend, I promise you. Save it. What did I say? Save early, save often. We're going to come back to the project information. Again, this all mimics. I don't need to go through each one of these. Dr. Marshall also told you a lot about how to answer these things, how to think about outcomes, how to think about presenting your needs statement, how to present how you are unique in your community to provide these services. The second tab is our funding request. Okay, this gets a little tricky here. I've got it in the FAQs. And I've got it at the bottom of the grant guidelines as well, but I'm going to show you, I want to walk through this with you. Here's our funding request tab. Before you can upload, this usually doesn't show up here. Usually what you have to do is you put in how much money you're going to ask for. And again, you can ask for up to $125,000 this grant. If you do so, make sure that your narrative matches that. If you are new to the system, once you put in your amount requested, you'll use Save Draft, and this box will show up. I'm not sure why it was showing up for me, but this box right here will show up. This is where I want you to upload your fund request form. So to do that, you can either drag and drop your files here or browse your files. I have all the things that I need. You probably can't see this pop-up screen, but I have a file folder on my desktop that has all those 6 items that I need for this grant application. And the one I'm going to upload here, and you're going to see it when I bring it up, is the 2023 fall, see it, fund request form sample. I've put it in there. So now I can see it's in here. If you have others you want to upload, you can. And I'm going to save it. I save it every tab. I just save it I've been doing grant writing for about 25 years. I just save it every tab. So that's how you get your fund request form to us. Then we're going to go to the next tab up here, which is the expected outcomes, again, outlined in the grant guidelines. We need to know how many jobs created, how many jobs were saved, et cetera, et cetera. These are all outlined in that grant guidelines. The big one here I want to point out, this is kind of programmatic, but I'm going to jump here anyway. We want to know the number of unduplicated businesses you serve. That means they could come to a workshop, they could come to a training, they could go to one-on-one technical assistance. 3 things they attended, but it's one business who did it. So that's the unduplicated count. And you can reach out to us, both Lisa and I, if you want more detail into that. Here's our pearl of wisdom with the economic impact outcomes, is you'll see that these are required elements. So I'm going to create 23 jobs. Let's suppose I'm not going to save any jobs. Maybe I'm not going to do workshops. Maybe I'm going to do training, but not workshops. And I'm going to do one-on-one technical assistance, but no access to financing. You have to put something in here. In this case, you put a 0 because the system won't let you submit this application until it sees something in this box. If it doesn't apply to your project, that's totally cool. Just put a 0 in there for me. I've got it right here. Up here, put a 0 if this does not apply to your application. So you go through all of these, you'll put all of your outcomes in here. What this does is this allows me to pull all that data out of this database and will show me, here's what you applied for. This is what we negotiated with you, should you be funded. And then at the end, to compare that to the report, all 3 of those look exactly the same. So hang on, we're getting close to the end. We're getting close to the end here. Here are the attachments that we have asked you to have. And remember, I said you have to have several things ready to go. The first one is that organizational budget. So again, I'm going to go back to my, my file that I have on my desktop that you can't see right now, but in the video, I'll put a sample of what that looks like. Here's our organizational budget. That means it's been successfully uploaded. You see how that went to green from blue? That means you did that correctly. You will have to have something there. Here is the P&L income statement, or the statement of activities. I'm going to browse that. I'm going to pull that up from where I've put everything. You see how fast it goes? If you have all this stuff ready to go, rather than having to search for it, I put it in a folder on my desktop. Boom, boom, boom. I can just upload everything. Then here's where you're going to put your IRS letter of determination, and you'll pop that in there. Again, if you are using a fiscal sponsor, you have to have their IRS fiscal determination, and you have to include a letter documenting and defining the relationship. I've got it right here, documentation defining the relationship. Another pearl of wisdom, read all the instructions. Save often, save early, read all the instructions. The last part in our certifications right here is that you will certify to the 3 there are 3 statements that you're going to certify. They're in the grant guidelines. You agree to the certification or you do not agree to that. You will use an electronic name or signature. This can be your CEO, your CFO. It's the person who's responsible for managing the grants and maybe fund development in your organization. It's often a development person. I need your name. It'll be an electronic signature that you agree to. It will have your title and it will have a date that you say you put it in. This will be time-stamped as to when this comes into our organization. And again, as a gentle and friendly reminder, these are due on Friday, December 1st at 5 p.m. The portal closes at 5:01. So when you've done all of these things, you're going to use the submit button. Now, remember, I haven't filled everything out. So I'm going to go back to my home page. And what changes is, I have 2 applications going. See, got 2 applications going right now. When you change one of these to submit, it moves it from in progress into the submitted category. And if I click that, you'll see that I don't have any submitted right now. But I do have 2 in progress. I'm going to open that up right here. These are 2 of the same. They did that because I showed you 2 examples, 2 separate examples. But this is where your in progress are. If you've been approved or declined, it'll be in this box. And let's see, I've got one that is closed. These were both accepted and they were closed out. They were previous grant cycles. So this is where I will stop the screen share for a moment. And I know we've got a couple of notices here. At this point, I'm going to click this and anybody can, you can unmute yourself if you want to talk, if you have questions. This concludes the walkthrough of the portal. At this time, we're going to go to the second stage of this presentation, which is the question and answer period. Thank you so much for everybody's cooperation, by the way. I really appreciate it. I like being able to go through the whole thing. I've got two questions over here. I'm going to go to them right away. The first one is, Diana, this grant is only for nonprofit organizations. You need to be listed in the Washington State Secretary of State as a nonprofit corporation or organizations, LLC, small businesses, not eligible to apply. If you're an organization or an MDO that is building your work, or an entrepreneurship support organization that's a nonprofit and you're working towards your 501, we need you to have a fiscal sponsor, and they need to be that 501c3, 501c6. We need their information. Diana, I hope that answers your question, but if not, feel free to put another one in the chat. And Rio, you asked if you're going to get the recorded version of this. Absolutely. I'm going to post it on our website. I will post it in our WSMA YouTube channel. I'll send out it in an e-blast that'll probably go out early next week, but you'll be able to find it. So Beth asked, what was the 6th document you recommended we have ready? So let me review those again quickly. Questions on a Word document that you can copy and paste. Number 2 is the completed funding request form. Number 3 is have your anticipated outcomes ready to copy and paste into it. I keep that as a separate document. The 4th is an organization budget for the most recent fiscal year. That's an organization budget, not the project. Number 5 is an organization P&L or income statement or statement of activities. This is what you actually did. What were your revenue? What were your actual expenses? That gives us a real on the ground look at the organization. Number 6 is your organization or fiscal sponsors IRS 501c3 nonprofit letter of determination. If you need samples of these things, drop me a line. I've prepped samples for all of these for you as well. And I think that is it. Are there any other questions that I might be able to ask anyone? I think we've gone through all the pearls of wisdom, 30 minutes. Anybody else? If you have questions during this period, programmatic, eligibility, etc. questions, please reach out to Lisa Smith. I'll put her email in the video as well as the information down below in the text box. Any technical issues, anything you run into with this portal, please drop me a line at cherie@wildmicrobiz.org, and I will be happy to help you through that. I will give you fair notice. It is the holiday coming up. Might have some tricky time during that, but I'll make sure that you get the information you need well before you're submitting into the application. Anything else I can answer for anyone else? If not, I'm going to stop the recording, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Again, the application is due on Friday, December 1st, and I'll close it down at 5:01. And if you didn't hear that, then I don't know what to tell you, because I've said it a lot of times, but don't worry. Give us a call if you have any questions or anything. Drop us a line. We'll be happy to help. I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it.